Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM. My name is Beatrice. The news is also live on Kesme 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Healthcare delivery at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital severely hampered as doctors at the facility begin an indefinite strike over imminent eviction. We are live in the Ashanti region shortly. Also, Transport Minister Kweku Ofori-Asiamah to be hauled before Parliament to respond to questions on some approved charges by the Ghana Airport Company Limited. Much later, leadership of Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association reject an upward adjustment in verification of license fees from the current 550 cedis to a whopping 3,000 cedis. We seek answers to the over 400% increment. Later in sport, we'll bring you an update on the ongoing 2023 African Games and Team Ghana's impressive performance in the mixed martial art competition. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Healthcare delivery at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, has been severely hampered as doctors at the facility begin an indefinite strike. The decision to strike, according to the medical doctors, is to register their discontentment with an imminent eviction they face from their current official residence at Danyame, a suburb of Kumasi. The land has been ceded to the Asantehene on behalf of and in trust for the subjects of the Golden Stool. The revested land contains state bungalows to be relocated to the area retained by the government. But the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council's handling of the relocation process appears to have angered the doctors. Ibrahim Abubakar is a man in that region. He's following this developing story. He joins us live on the line with some more. Ibrahim, can you tell us how impactful the strike is right now?
Well, Beatrice, I can tell you that most of the patients are just leaving disappointed because they've not been attended to. Some came here as early as 6 a.m. and they waited hoping that the doctors will come and attend to them. And as we speak, it's 12 and still no doctor is here. The advantage is that in the morning, the management intervened partially. So now the doctors are attending to emergency cases. So when you move to the emergency unit, you realize that the ambulances that are coming are being accepted and patients are being treated. But you come to the main OPD and the place is gradually being deserted. Ordinarily around this time you come here and the place will be congested, but now you can see a lot of empty chairs because people have started going home and realizing that no doctor will attend to them. So it's all about frustration because, Konfanochi serves 13 regions out of the 15. So people have come all the way from Western, North, and other regions just to come for medical attention, and they have not been able to be attended to. And I engaged with some of them in the morning.
That's why I brought him here. But they told us that you should come today. When we came, they say the doctors went to strike. So we are going back to Western North.
So when are you expected to come back?
Unless they resume.
Me are Nambasi. I mean, Mitaba. Titam was Sunday Semiba. Some basic doctors. Kosrak, woman by Jumande.
Pacho anopedia, maybe who doctor and some basic doctors Kosrak. We do a best 7 o'clock. May chance on Bemam dating a mako. Me pacho me srempening for doctors near buying. So moving to Yene Kure de Muna or Moy, yes, I really be queer.
You heard that some patients who were hoping to be attended to by doctors at the Komfo Teaching Hospital visibly sick there, as you could hear from their voice. Ibrahim is still on the line with us. Ibrahim, earlier you were telling us that management intervened and therefore doctors are attending to emergency cases. But what more can you tell us from that?
So, Beatrice, at 2 o'clock, the management is meeting with the Doctors Association, the Lands Commission, and also the Regional Coordinating Council to iron out the differences. So the PRO, when we spoke to him, he is very hopeful that latest by the close of today or tomorrow, these issues will be dealt with completely for the doctors to resume their services. Kwame Frimpong is the PRO of Komfo.
Management has been engaging the doctors and other stakeholders since these concerns were raised by the doctors. The firm assurance that we've gotten so far from the Regional Coordinating Council, from the Land Commission, and from the Redevelopment Committee of the Danyami area is that the doctors will not be pushed out until alternative accommodation have been found for them. We've met the doctors this morning, and we are going to meet them again in the course of the day. And so, yes, those concerns have been raised. I don't think that they are worth resolving, and we've been engaging since yesterday. We believe that there is the possibility of the issues being resolved completely, given the firm assurances that we've received from the Lands Commission and then the Regional Coordinating Council.
You heard Kwame Frimpong. He speaks for the Komfo Teaching Hospital. Ibrahim Abubakar is on the line for us to wrap up our conversation. Ibrahim, you talked about a meeting that is expected to happen around 2 p.m. Mr. Frimpong has just given us one of the things we should be expecting, that the doctor should not be pushed out until talks are done. What more can you tell us? Because I remember the first time we spoke about this, you talked about a seeming improper communication, which has aggravated the situation.
Well, so an information we've also picked up is that monies have been made readily available for the doctors to move. You know, currently the Regional Coordinating Council is putting up a new structure where they will be relocated to, but the place is not ready yet. We are told it's around 70 to 80% complete. So now they have decided that they will rent a place for them within a period of 2 years. Then they are hopeful that by then the new structure would have been completed for the doctors to move to that place. So that's what we also be expecting in the meeting. When the monies, we are told the monies are available, but that will be communicated to the doctors when they meet later in the afternoon.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim Abubakar Aman in the Ashanti region. Thank you for bringing us those details. We stay on health because the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association has called on the Nurses and Midwifery Council to immediately suspend the implementation of the newly approved fee for verification of licenses. The association says that the verification service, which previously attracted 550 cedis fee, has since March 8 this year increased to 3,000 cedis after approval by Parliament. The association finds this unacceptable, especially under the current economic challenge facing workers. In a statement, the GRNMA described the fee increment as an attempt to curtail the migration of nurses and midwives when conditions in the country are not conducive. While urging suspension of the fee implementation, the association also asked Parliament to urgently revert to the old fees. I'm joined by Perpetual Oforiampofo. She is the president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Good afternoon to you, ma'am. Thank you for joining us. Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon to you, ma'am. Thank you for joining us on the news.
Good afternoon to you and your listeners.
So obviously the association is not happy that it has jumped from 500, I'm talking about the verification fees, it's jumped from 550 to 3,000 cedis. Per what you're expressing, do we get the understanding that there was no communication at all and that is why we are where we are?
Exactly so. You know, we just woke up to know that these new fees and charges have been implemented. And we find it very, very difficult to think that the fee would have been increased from 550 to 3,000 Ghana cedis. As president of the association, I serve on the NMC board, but no discussion of this nature in terms of moving the fees from 550 Ghana cedis to 3,000 cedis was ever discussed. We have always discussed the issue of verification applications, which continuously has increased over time because more people want to emigrate. And at the same time, the applications, once submitted, takes quite a while, 2 months and over, before the regulatory body can actually complete the verification for the applicants. And therefore, along the line, the board has talked about probably getting some premium services, which will also afford the NMC the ability to raise some funds. But never have we as a board sat down to agree that the amount of money should move from 550 to 3,000 Ghana cedis. That notwithstanding, we understand that Parliament has approved it and it's been implemented. What we are also learning is that once it's been implemented, it means that the LI has matured over its 91 days, and therefore Parliament may not be able to do much, and it will require our sector ministry, which is the Ministry of Health, to actually respond to our issues. We are therefore calling on the Ministry of Health as a matter of urgency to pick up this issue and let Parliament know that we cannot, as Ghanaian nurses and midwives, afford that 3,000 Ghana cedis.
Are you able to tell us what is going into this 3,000 cedis and probably what necessitated it at this time?
I cannot speak on that matter. It is for the NMC to say so.
It means that there has not been any communication. There has not been any communication on that as well as regards what's going into it.
None that I know of. All that I know is that the National Military Council, as a regulatory body, is responsible for the verification of licenses. If you need your license verified to go to school abroad or to go into work with an employer abroad, then you require to have this verification done.
What can you do? What is the next line of action, should I say, if indeed this call you're placing is not heeded?
Leadership will meet and take strong actions, and I don't think our employers will like that. So it should be reverted. I'm sorry, I need to go online with your other station.
All right, we'll have to end it here with her, Perpetual Ofori. She needs to go, but we'll get some more on that later as regards what that strong action she talks about means. But Perpetual Ofori is the president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. Thank you for speaking to us. We head to Parliament, where the House is seeking to hold the Transport Minister before the House to explain why the Ghana Airport Company intends to introduce a levy of $20 on a round-trip ticket purchased in Ghana. Following a request from Tamale South MP Haruna Idrisu, the House questioned why the levy was being introduced without the approval of Parliament. Duke Opoku-Mensah is in Parliament for us. He joins us live. Duke, can you tell us a bit more about this? Hello, Duke. Okay, seems we've lost Duke on the line there, but you're still here on the Midday News on 3FM. My name is Beatrice. When we come back, we'll bring you some more from Parliament, as well as what the Minister of State at the Finance Ministry has been saying regarding the letter the ministry sent to the presidency about the LGBTQ bill, which is awaiting presidential assent. Stay with us.
Diaba, Adama for Diaba, a freezer, Adama, a Kwafosemensia, Adama, Metimosua, my sorry, Canino, Obo Moasia, I do for the Nobium Unum and San last night, I don't know what we did. Adama for Adama, who said, Yet the Drubacope, a ship will be a high technology, Aqua freezer, when Kwan, and once open your 15 letters, no fugum, what ya no fugum. What the boss here, if we be any of us, you equity say, over Timono. Then we sure say, mention Tassia. Then what's enough for now? Freezer, power up a day. Freezer,
Dacia, a basson do so among Ammoniaji.
How much did I make? Me was sika. Tina me. Me didn't mean to do some doom. Adama, with that Adama, no queer. Adama, you can't resist.
Ubenya Adama West Africa for a dream or baby bear a tongue cry on who you. I feel Kayona Kinkai in Choya a dream.
You're still here on the Midday News on 3FM. Thank you for staying. Let's head to Parliament. Like I told you earlier, where Duke Opoku-Mensah is standing by to bring us more information on Parliament seeking to haul the Transport Minister before the House to explain why the Ghana Airport Company intends to introduce a levy of $20 on a round-trip ticket purchased in Ghana. Duke Opoku-Mensah joins us live now. Hello, Duke. What more can you tell us?
I can tell you that there has been a finality drop to the issue on the floor of the House. The second deputy speaker has issued a summons or has issued an invitation to the minister for transport to be present on the floor of Parliament on the 19th of March. That's 6 days away, to explain to Parliament why the airport company is essentially charging an illegal fee. An illegal fee in the sense that Parliament is the only body charged with the responsibility to levy, to impose levies and taxes in this country. They have not done that, but the Ghana Airport Company is seeking to arrogate such powers to itself by charging or levying taxes. So the minister is supposed to appear before Parliament on the 19th of March, answer these questions. Explain to Parliament why the Ghana Airport Company is seeking to charge an illegal fee.
Duke, we also do understand that the Volta Regional Minister Archibald Lecha has been making some comments regarding Ketu South and tidal waves. Can you tell us what he's been saying?
Yeah, so he just finished answering the questions on the floor of the House. Essentially, he has been speaking to the issues surrounding tidal waves and the government's quest to resettle the persons who have been affected by tidal waves. Really. So he has said that this will cost some 25 million Ghana cedis. The entire resettlement scheme will cost 25 million Ghana cedis. But initial challenges with the land because of litigation has affected the pace of work with respect to this resettlement scheme. Also, a very long and wet rainy season has also affected work on this. And after now, it's only Ghana Gas that has committed to build 15 two-bedroom houses in the new area allocated for the resettlement scheme, while they wait for other governmental and non-governmental organizations to commit to this resettlement scheme that's valued at some 25 million Ghana cedis.
Thank you very much, Duke Mensah Opoku. He's our parliamentary correspondent. Thank you for bringing us those updates. You're still here on the Midday News on 3FM. My name is Beatrice. The letter we sent to the president is fair, and it was not to caution him. The words of the Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Abena Osei Asari. The comment comes barely 2 weeks after a 3-paged letter emerged from the Finance Ministry painting the dark consequences the country could face should the bill receive presidential assent. It said, for instance, that Ghana could lose a total of $3.8 billion if the country went ahead with a presidential assent. Let me remind you of some of those highlights. The expected $300 million financing from the first Ghana Resilient Recovery Development Policy Operation budget support could suffer. Ongoing negotiations for $250 million US dollars to support the Ghana Financial Stability Fund could also suffer. Preparation for pipeline projects and declaration of effectiveness for 2 projects totaling $900 million could be suspended. The statement then went ahead and gave some recommendations. Some experts reacted to this, accusing the ministry of unnecessarily trying to influence the president's decision. But in an interview with me, Abnos Asari said the statement was only to lay the facts bare.
Most of us do not understand. This is a bill that, as a parliamentarian, we all approved of. What Ministry of Finance sought to do was to tell the whole world that, yes, we've heard sentiments from various places, but for us, we're working together to make sure we raise the needed revenue and fill in the gaps, if any, showed any of our development partners refuse to give money. That was all we sought to do. And honestly, if we had read the statement to the end, you would know that is what we sought to do. What we sought to do is that this is it. This is what we are faced with. It is unanimously Parliament, which I am a member and the Minister of Finance himself is a member, agreed to, and the law was passed.
People think if we
what we are saying is that we have heard sentiments. We cannot sit here and pretend as if we haven't heard sentiments from various quarters. This is what we have heard. But if we can come together as one and make sure we raise the needed revenue, should there be any revenue gaps, we would be able to fill. And that was what the statement sought to do.
People think if we dealt with corruption, we wouldn't even need to do this.
What is corruption?
Because a lot more money goes into corruption.
There are so many aspects of corruption. You even refusing to hand over this document to the next person for that person to proceed with the work that is doing. And so it is something that is not just, we just say with our mouth, but there are things that we do. The things that we should have done that we do not do. The things that we should have done to save time that we do not do. So it's not every time that is in monetary terms. You say corruption, corruption, yes. Corruption is everywhere. And it is our duty, my duty, your duty to make sure we reduce and if at all, eliminate it. How do we do it? We all support. We don't just say it with our mouth. But whatever we all have to do to make sure we eliminate it, that is what we do. I think we just enjoy talking about it. But whatever it is that we have to put our wheels to the and make sure we make it happen. We don't find a lot of people doing that. But as much as possible, this nation belongs to all of us. In everything that we all can do to make sure we minimize it, let's all do it. You play your part, we play our part, not just the politicians, but everybody.
I think that this statement was choosing the diplomatic agencies and their monies over what people feel is the culture of Ghanaians. The statement to caution the president about the financial...
Nobody cautioned the president. Like I mentioned, that it is something that we put out there, that we have heard the sentiments from various quarters. But what we are saying that should there be any gap, we believe that for us here, we should work together to make sure we raise the needed revenue. And I think it's a fair statement to put out there, to encourage the people of the Ministry of Finance to make sure that should there be any shortfalls as a result of this bill that we have all decided to agree and pass, we should do ABCD to make sure we fill in that gap.
Abno Sansare is the Minister of State at the Finance Ministry. I'm joined by economist with the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Patrick Esumin. Good afternoon to you, Doc. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to our listeners. Thanks for having me.
Doc, you are one of the first to say that the intervention of the ministry was unnecessary. Having listened to the Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, will you change your stance now?
I still maintain that it wasn't necessary. I think that it wasn't just that it wasn't necessary. Some of the information captured are not factual, or they don't have any sound research basis. If you look at what the document contains, so for instance, it made a definitive statement that if the bill is passed, then the 2.1 billion ongoing project by the World Bank will be suspended. We clearly know. If you look at the example from Uganda, the World Bank did not suspend ongoing projects. What it did is that it says it is not going to submit new funding requests to its board for approval. And until it has done some assessment to understand the impact of the bill. And even then, so it's not definitively saying that once you sign this, or once Uganda passed that law, this will happen. Don't forget that Uganda's law is harsher than Ghana's own. So I think if the finance ministry meant to put out balanced information to the president to guide his decision making, it wouldn't be putting out those kind of speculations based on things that are not factual as basis.
You don't think the information in that letter which we saw was balanced?
It is not. You see, if you're a finance ministry and you want to do a cost benefit of a law, you look at the cost side and the potential benefit side. It only focuses on what may happen. did they consider any gains the Ghanaian economy stands to make from passing such a law?
But you know, it talked about recommendations and stuff and said that we needed to do this, improve domestic revenue, mobilization and all of that. You don't think that that balanced the equation of what their concerns were?
So that balance, it reached that conclusion based on incomplete facts or misleading facts to claim that the moment we pass the law, all ongoing World Bank projects will be suspended. It's just inaccurate. There's no fact or any historical precedent that backs that. So, yes, it's good I made recommendations, but the recommendations were based on premises that were not factual.
We'll have to end it here. Thank you very much, Dr. Patrick Isuming. He is an economist with the University of Ghana Business School. Thank you for speaking to us. Now, Ghana clinched an astonishing total of 9 medals on Tuesday night in the mixed martial art event at the 2023 African Games. This followed Abeku Jackson's bronze medal in swimming when he finished third in the 100-meter butterfly. The Black Satellites recorded their first victory of the campaign, defeating Gambia 3-1 at the Accra Sports Stadium, whilst the Black Princesses came from behind to defeat Tanzania 2-1 at the Cape Coast Stadium. I'm joined by Ureku Ampofo of our sports desk. Ureku, obviously the MMA team for Ghana did great work last night, winning 9 medals. Does this impact the medal table for Ghana in any way, first of all?
Well, unfortunately, it doesn't because MMA is part of the demonstration sports added by the African Union to the African Games. So they are, included in the games just for promotional purposes. So it's just to promote them, and it's more or less like on a pilot where they feel these games do have the future. So they actually describe them as a glimpse into the future of sports entertainment. So there's Scrabble, there's Sambo, there's mixed martial arts, there's esports, along other games as well. So it would not impact the medal table. Currently, we do have 5 without the 9. So
any reason we are doing excellent on the one that will not give us any points, and then not performing so well where we need the points?
Yeah. I mean, it's good signs. It just shows that we're getting ahead in that discipline, and maybe one day in a few years' time, when it's finally accepted as a sport competitively, we should be able to comfortably win medals then.
Again, the football teams also won something. What does it mean moving forward?
So for the football, it's pretty straightforward. The Black Princesses have won 2 games, so automatically they would qualify to the semi-finals. That means that they're just 1 game away from an assured medal. They just have to finish in the top 3 of the competition. The semi-final is 4 teams, and so then the medal zone, which is good for them. The men drew their first game 0-0. Winning the second one puts them on top and also in pole position to head to the semi-final, which is the medal zone. So at the moment, there's confidence that these 2 teams would be bringing in, medals for Ghana as well.
Confidence. Any updates on today's event?
Also, unfortunately, Ghana's volleyball journey has come to an end. Both the men and the women have lost at the quarterfinal stages, so they didn't even get to the medal zone. But I think it was fairly impressive from them, considering that we're now hearing they also complaints that some of them didn't receive their equipment from their federations as well, which has been a running theme throughout the competition.
No wins, but impressive, you say. What should we expect?
Well, I think there's still some hope in swimming. There's the male freestyle final, which would have representation there, and then in the female sprint, that for freestyle as well. So there's a possibility we might be getting yet another swim medal. And arm wrestling also does start today at Legon. Ghana has proven to be strong in the past year in that discipline as well. There's weightlifting where we won majority of our medals from Rabat in 2019. So there will be medals for Ghana, but the question is how many?
Thank you very much. And that was Ureku Kwapon with our sports desk. Thank you for bringing us updates on the All-African Games. And that's how we end the news here on 3FM. Our top stories. Healthcare delivery at Konfanoche Teaching Hospital severely hampered as doctors at the facility begin an indefinite strike over imminent eviction. We brought you update there where we understand doctors are attending to emergency cases, and there's also a meeting later this afternoon to resolve the matter. Also, Transport Minister Kweku Furiesiama to be hauled before Parliament to respond to questions on some unapproved charges by the Ghana Airport Company Limited. Leadership of Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association rejects an upward adjustment in verification of license fees from the current 550 cedis to a whopping 3,000 cedis. We brought you an update there. And you just heard that update from the 2023 African Games. My name is Beatrice. Thank you very much for joining us today. Log on to 3news.com for more news. Have a good afternoon.
The 3FM Gorba Festival 2024.
Living inside my head, rent free, baby. I was saying I hope it's
I'm at the point in life, if you understand me or not. Hello, Monica.
Turn this up. Join us for an unforgettable experience happening live on the 16th of March 2024. Venue, Tete Kwashi Interchange, near Accra Mall. Time, 10 a.m. Be part of the excitement. Don't miss out. For vendors interested in exhibiting or setting up stands during the festival, please contact 053 11 00927. It's all about the 3FM Gorba Festival.
When I wake up in the morning, Gobani Koko is calling. And what am I waiting for? Ever should never play to the local jogging. Because join the queue.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Business Daily. Coming up this afternoon, inflation eases marginally as February sees a 0.3 percentage point drop to 23.2%. We'll hear from government statistician Professor Samuel Kobna Enim.
Over a one-year period that is between February 2023 and February 2024, prices of goods and services have gone up by 23.2%.
Meanwhile, economist Courage Buti projects relatively sharp increase in inflation for the month of March, citing base drift effect.
Inflation for March would increase quite sharply. It could get to maybe 25 thereabout %, but from April we expect that trend to continue declining.
Plus, financial analyst urges Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana to maintain policy rates during its 117th meeting to review developments in the economy.
I would rather be expecting that they stay the last rate they shared instead of either reducing or increasing it.
My name is Menu Afo. We have details of these stories and more lined up for you. Stay with me. Thank you for your time in our first story today. Latest data from the Ghana Statistical Service has revealed the economy has returned to the path of disinflation, with February 2024 figures standing at 23.2%. This represents a 0.3 percentage point decrease from the 23.5% recorded in January. During a press briefing in Accra, government statistician Professor Samuel Kobna Enim attributed the drop to marginal decline in food and non-food inflation rates.
In the month of February 2024, the rate of inflation stood at 23.2%. This year-on-year rate of inflation signifies that over a one-year period that is between February 2023 and February 2024, prices of goods and services have gone up by 23.2%. This 23.2% is a reversal of the marginal increase that we recorded in the month of January 2024, when the slowdown that we had successively recorded for the last 7 months saw a marginal increase to 23.5%.
That was government statistician Professor Samuel Kobna Enim. Meanwhile, economist and research leader GCB Capital Courage Buti is projecting a sharp increase in inflation for the month of March. In an interview with 3 Business, he said this expected upsurge is as a result of a base drift effect.
The trend we're seeing, or the decline, largely reflects the general market sentiment and the trajectory of inflation for the most part of this year. The caveat though is that in March we would expect some increase, maybe relatively sharp increase, that will reflect base effect. If you recall, March last year, there was deflation on both food and non-food inflation on a month-to-month basis, and we saw sharp decline in the CPI index in March 2023. Now, that base movement will mean that inflation for March would increase quite sharply. It could get to maybe 25 thereabout %, but from April we expect that trend to continue declining, really.
Courage Buti is an economist and research lead at GCB Capital. Away from that, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture says it plans to more than double poultry production in the country this year. Last year, Ghana produced about 15,000 metric tons of poultry, representing only 5% of the nation's total consumption. Speaking at a local media house, Sector Minister Brian Champong expressed hope to increase production to 45,000 metric tons by close of 2024.
We talked about poultry resuscitation. You see the numbers. We are consuming 15,000. We are consuming 324,000 plus metric tons. We are producing about 15,000 metric tons, 5% self-sufficiency. In the budget of 2024, you saw that I pushed to renovate and rehabilitate 300, let me put it this way, defunct poultry farms. We got a budget to give poultry farmers 18 million day-old chicks, vaccines, and feed. And this is to push our food self-sufficiency from 15,000 metric tons to about 42,000 metric tons in this year. We're not able to meet the 2023 target, and that was the only target in our commodities that we missed out, which was a poultry, because by November, when we wanted to put in 4.5 million day-old chicks, we were able to just do about 2.5 million. I mean, that's why this Christmas you saw that the price of chicken was relatively stable and an influx of a lot of Ghanaian chicken. That was the effort that we put in. But this year, we will be able to move it from 15,000 to 42,000. Bernard, I wish that in one fell swoop, 2024, we can solve the poultry problem. It's just not possible.
Minister of Food and Agriculture Brian Champong Day. Away from that, financial analyst Dr. Richmond Frimpong anticipates a maintenance in the policy rate at 29% at the next Monetary Policy Committee meeting, citing the current inflation trends as the reason for his prediction. The meeting slated for Wednesday, March 2024 to Friday, March 22, 2024 to discuss issues of economic interest and review developments. The policy rate, however, will be announced on Monday, March 25, 2024.
Looking at what is happening to the forex side, my expectation is that they will stay the last rate they gave, and just so that it can bring some order instead of increasing it. I will not be expecting an increase. Because remember, the Bank of Ghana's policy rate is inflation targeting. That is an inducement. And so when they don't see any significant correction in inflation, then if they want to bring a blend between the cost of credit and activating the productive sectors of the economy, and at the same time controlling inflation, then the best is to stay and not to reduce.
You heard the voice of financial analyst Dr. Richmond Frimpong there. Before we go, our top stories. Inflation eased marginally as February saw a 0.3 percentage point drop to 23.2%. We heard from government statistician Professor Samuel Kobna Enim. Meanwhile, economist Courage Buti projects a relatively sharp increase in inflation for the month of March, citing base drift effect. Plus, financial analyst urges Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana to maintain policy rates during its 117th meeting to review developments in the economy. And that brings us to the end of Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more business stories, kindly log on to our website at 3news.com. I am Menu Afo. Do stay tuned. Black Casa will be back with Urban Blend.